Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Chelsea Review. This is the series where I go over the most recent exploits of Chelsea Football Club. So, what's been kicking off at Cobham this week? Well, it's more as of recent because the last day of the Premier League was a while ago now. I get this, but I have to apologise because I had exams which I had to knuckle down on and lock in over. And once they finished, I needed a break because I wanted to grind out videos over the summer holidays. And I wanted to enjoy myself a bit before I started that grind. So anyway, here we are. The last time I did this video, we had just beaten Liverpool. Boy, a lot has happened since then. You'll have to wait for my next video covering the Conference League final, and now I'll be covering the last Premier League games of this season. So, after we beat Liverpool, and Djurgården, I don't know how to say it, we went away to St James's Park, and in short, it was a shit show. This was the second time this season we've gone up away to Newcastle. The last time was in the Carabao Cup in October. However, this time there were some similarities to that game. Well, one difference was that we played our full-strength squad instead of our rotation squad. That still didn't stop Sandro Tonali scoring inside 2 minutes. This guy has been banned for the last year, and then when he came back, he's been electric. Like, who remembers that goal against Brentford? Anyway, it took Tonali 112 seconds and a Robert Sanchez mistake to score. The day was made so much worse because Nicholas Jackson decided it wasn't his day that day, and so took it upon himself to elbow Sven Botman in the head, resulting in an early shower for him. And as I am writing this, he has just been sent off again in the Club World Cup. Honestly, receiving a no-look red card is actually rude. He shouldn't have that. Anyway, this horrid game is capped off with a 90th minute goal by Bruno Guimaraes to seal Chelsea's fate. After that game, Chelsea's Champions League hopes were a bit uncertain, but those hopes were lifted after the game against the semi-professional football club known as Manchester United. A 70th minute goal by Marc Cucurella saw Chelsea come out on top against the struggling Manchester United. While we dominated the whole game, I feel we still should have put more than one past the 16th place Manchester United side that was looking to win the Europa League. Only to not even do that and lose to Tottenham, of all teams. Like, how does this happen? But, yeah, this win put us back on track for our title hopes going into the final day, away against Nottingham Forest. Now, this had been a great Nottingham Forest team who, for the most part of the season, had been exceeding every possible expectation by sitting in the top 4. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on at the end, no thanks to us, as Levi Colwill scored the only goal to secure Champions League next season. It was certainly a hard-fought game, but we came out on top in the end. What was nice to see was Forest player Tyrell Awoniyi come out to a hero's welcome after being hospitalised following a grim injury he sustained against Leicester. And apparently adult film star Bonnie Blue had also had to be escorted out of the stadium after she, like Gary Neville, had been banned from entering the stadium. Random piece of information, but anyway, so the game began. Forest were definitely a strong opponent, something we had seen earlier this season. Chris Wood had some unlucky chances that he would have certainly put away on a different day. But it unfortunately wasn't Forest's day, as in the 50th minute, Nico Williams, no, not that one, this one, honestly, it is definitely a coincidental pose from the Forest player as he failed to clear the ball, which ended up at Pedro Neto's feet, who squared it into Levi Colwill to score the only goal. At full time, instead of a pitchside brawl where Cole Palmer refused to take part, there was jubilation from the Chelsea players. And what was nice to see was after the Liverpool game we had this, and after the Forest game we had this. Somehow Malo Gusto ended up in the bin. I don't even know how that happened. Honestly, if only Noni's dancing had happened after the Wolves game where he called the town of Wolverhampton shit and proceeded to dunk a hat-trick on them, that would have been so funny. So yes, after 9 months, Chelsea had Champions League football. And heartbreak for Nottingham Forest, who had a chance to return to the Champions League for the first time since 1980. And let's not forget that they have won the Champions League twice, so that would have been a very interesting story for them. Unfortunately, that never came to fruition, and Forest have Conference League football instead. That's still European football, so that's not too bad given this same side had almost been relegated last season. Though all the credit must go to Nuno Espirito Santo, the Forest manager, for getting Forest to the Conference League, and also to players like Matt Sells, Anthony Elanga, Morgan Gibbs-White, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and especially Chris Wood, who have all been amazing this season. Especially Chris Wood, who scored 20 goals in the league this season. He and joint Golden Glove winner Matt Sells are probably the only reason Forest have gotten this far. All credit to Forest though. I think I may make a video on this season. This underdog story needs to be studied, like Leicester. What is also funny is that Matt Sells had an equal number of clean sheets as David Raya, the Arsenal goalkeeper. However, that still didn't stop Arsenal from coming second again. That's right, Arsenal lost out to the new champions of England, no not Manchester City for once, Liverpool, who lifted the Premier League title on the final day after drawing 1-1 to Crystal Palace. Up until 3 weeks before the final day, Liverpool had been unstoppable, with their only loss being at home to Forest, coincidentally. But ever since their win to Tottenham, Liverpool have been on dreamland and had just stopped caring. In that time they've lost to Chelsea, Fulham and others, though not that it mattered, they'd still won the league. Honestly, I don't mind that Liverpool won though. It meant that Man City didn't win it, and it had really just gotten boring that they'd won it 4 times in a row. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Congratulations to Liverpool. I can't wait to see what happens in the league next season. However, in the time that it's taken me to record this video, some shocking news came out of Spain on the morning of July 3rd. 10 days after getting married to his childhood sweetheart, Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva were returning to England, so Diogo could go to pre-season training with Liverpool. Diogo had undergone a minor lung surgery in Porto before his wedding and had been advised not to fly home. Therefore, he had decided to drive to Santander to take a ferry to England. However, the brothers' Lamborghini suffered a tyre blowout while overtaking another vehicle in the municipality of Cernedia, and the car caught fire. Emergency services later confirmed that both brothers had died at the scene. Andre Silva was 26 and Diogo Jota was 28, and he now left behind a newly married wife and 3 young children. I will be honest, I was travelling on the tube for a school event when a notification reporting his death came up on my phone, and I honestly thought it was a joke or something, like some troll on Twitter had sent something to take the piss and social media blew it all out of proportion. However, upon looking further, I found this clearly wasn't the case, and this meant that the world had lost a father, a son, a brother, and a footballer in his prime who was loved by many. I remember watching the Mark Goldbridge video on the subject later that day, and what he said stuck with me. Football fans, especially when we're younger, look up and idolise these players so much that you think they're almost invincible. So when a player in the prime of their career and their life is taken so suddenly, it comes as a real shock. Something that I've also realised in this time it's taken me to record and upload this video is that Diogo Jota was 28, which for a footballer is basically middle-aged. But you have to stop and actually think for a second to realise that despite what he does for a living, which means he has an increased public presence, he is still just a normal human being who went to work to earn a living to support his family, albeit his wage is significantly greater than most others. But my point is, footballers in essence are still just people, and at the age of 28, at least for me anyway, is still quite young. Not to mention that he also leaves a wife and 3 young children behind. I've also heard that Diogo Jota was not only a great football player, after all he had just won the Premier League with Liverpool and the Nations League with Portugal, but he was also loved by many friends who also described him as a laid-back, outgoing and playful character. He was loved by many and was clearly a fan favourite, which is why Liverpool decided to retire the number 20 in his honour. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of Diogo Jota and Andre Silva, especially to their parents. To have lost both sons at the same time is absolutely heartbreaking. So, may they both rest in peace.